Here we are in South Africa, Women's World Cup, and one of the star players of the tournament, Suzie Bates. Thank you so much for talking to OneCricket.
No worries, thanks for having me.
Yeah, let us just speak about this tournament. Is this any different from the kind of buzz you are getting, the buzz around international media?
I just think the profile of the women's game is so huge at the moment all around the world, and so this tournament, so many people have eyes on South Africa and how it's going to go, and with the IPL coming up, there's more noise around all of women's cricket, and I think the last 2 years we've just seen it grow and grow. So look, it's no different for me as a player. I think every player gets excited for a World Cup, but there definitely is a lot more attention around the women's game.
As you just mentioned, WPL, even though the first ball is being bowled, it is being seen as the revolutionary step in women's cricket. How do you look at that? The kind of money is expected to come in this game?
Yeah, it's massive, and I think the women's game's been waiting for it for a couple of years, and perhaps if COVID hadn't have hit, we might have seen it sooner, but it's going to change the game, there's no doubt about it. And I think for associate players as well, it's really exciting, perhaps for those players that don't play in the top nations such as Australia and England. Financially, it's massive, and it might keep players in the game for longer, but at the end of the day, it's just the product is exciting to me. The way, women's cricket has grown, and the players all around the world that, are now competing on the world stage. It's more just about the product that we can now produce as franchise cricketers, which is the most exciting, and we've seen that with TV rights and everyone getting behind it.
So how much see yourself as a trendsetter? Because back in 2013, if I'm not wrong, you were the first one to get a full-time contract by New Zealand Cricket Board.
Yeah, it's changed a lot.
Did you ever imagine that this kind of money will flow in WPL?
No, not in my lifetime or my cricket lifetime. Back when I first started, I've talked about it before, but we got $30 a day reimbursement for being away, and everyone had jobs outside of cricket and studied at university, and to see it while I'm still involved get to this point is so exciting, and it is where it should have been probably a long time ago, but we've got there now, and it's only going to move forward from here. And I just love that young females can see all their heroes and heroines on TV and aspire to be that, and they can make a full-time job out of cricket now when they first start playing. So
in that context, how do you look at BCCI and India, particularly BCCI President Jay Shah's role? Because now he has made it like a personal mission to, spread this game. Earlier, India was very reluctant to, promote women's sport. We have seen India has come a long way. In that sense, what kind of role you see from BCCI?
Yeah, they've started it now, and they're showing how important women's cricket is, and I think that'll flow on to women's sport. And we've seen that in New Zealand, where perhaps we've fallen behind in women's sport compared to the likes of Australia and England, but the way the rugby got behind the World Cup, the way we're going to get behind the Football World Cup, it's kind of a flow-on effect. It doesn't matter what sport it is. Once you promote female athletes, everyone realises they've got something to offer. So this is the start for India, and hopefully not just for cricket, but for other female athletes in India. It provides opportunities for them to be professional.
My final two questions, Suzie. You in your younger days, you played along with your brothers. How much that was helpful? Because a lot of young girls, in whichever part of the world, they tend to either play with their cousin, brothers, or friends. How much that helps in developing women's game?
Yeah, well, that was the only way I think a young female got into cricket, was playing with their brothers, and that is what is so cool now. I could have kids and they play with their mum, their sisters. It doesn't have to be the males inspiring those younger players. So, look, that's how it started for me, and without those influences, I wouldn't be here, so that's great. But I think now it doesn't matter, what environment you grow up in, you should be seeing opportunities everywhere to play sport.
Very few people, especially cricket fans, might not be aware that she has represented New Zealand in basketball in Beijing Olympics. So how do you look at having played Olympics, the highest form of the game, sport, and now representing Women's World Cup? Was it difficult? Now, how do you look at that this is a living basketball and opting for cricket?
Well, yeah, it's funny because talking about being a professional cricketer, if that was the case in my day, I wouldn't have been able to do both, and I perhaps would have had to choose and missed out on either going to an Olympics or being at World Cup. So I was fortunate in that sense that I was amateur and I could, change between the sports, whereas now, if you're contracted at 16, 17, that's one sport that you've got to focus on. So there are benefits of not being professional, but I think it's better this way, and yeah, it's just amazing how both sports have grown in my time in New Zealand in particular, and I learn a lot from playing both, and I think it's really important at a young age you play as many sports as you can.
Before I let you go, India is in a different group, but how do you think that chances of this Indian cricket team?
Yeah, look, they're world class, aren't they? And they've got some superstars, but this tournament's going to be very tight. And if in 2020 cricket, if you don't turn up on the day, any team can beat you. So, look, it's going to be how teams start. And look, they've got a gun batting lineup and some handy spin bowlers that will suit these conditions. So, look, they'll be gunning for those semi-final spots like we are.
Thank you so much, Suzie. Thank you so much. I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Thanks.